Hello and welcome to this video on demand. Let's talk about Euro Disney. What do you think might be all the factors that would influence whether people want to go and visit Euro Disney? Well, these might be some ideas. All these factors will play a part in the level of demand for people to buy tickets to go to Euro Disney. So in this video, we're going to look at what is meant by demand and the demand curve, look at the factors that determine the level of demand, look at changes in demand, and explain the relationship between income and demand. So let's start. What is meant by demand? Demand is the amount of a good or service that consumers are willing and able to buy at a set price at a given point in time. So it's telling us the relationship here between the price of a product or service or trip to Euro Disney and how many people want to buy it, want to use the service, or want to go there. So let's have a look here on the right hand side. Here might be some data that illustrates the concept of demand. We have price down here in this column, and we can see that as the price rises, the amount of people or the average number of tickets bought in that day is going down. So here we have the amount of good or service that consumers are willing and able to buy at a set price at a given point in time. So for most goods, as price rises, demand falls, and vice versa. We would describe this as being an inverse relationship. So here is our same data. We can see the price and we can see the tickets demanded per day. Now, if we were to plot that, as we've done here, with price on the y-axis and quantity demanded on the x-axis, we get a curve. And we call this curve the demand curve. It illustrates here the relationship between price and how many tickets we're going to sell or how many people want to buy our good or service at that price. Okay. A good way to remember this is that we've got an inverse relationship here, so it's going down. And because the demand varies inversely with price, the demand curve always slopes downwards. Down, 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 down. And we can use the demand curve to estimate the revenue that a business will earn at any given price, the amount of money the business will receive from selling tickets. So here we can see if the price was 45 euros, we'd be selling approximately 50,000 tickets. And we'd work out the revenue by taking the price and multiplying by the quantity sold. So the price is 45 euros, quantity demanded would be 50,000 tickets per day, so the revenue would be 2.25 million euros. Now, if the price was to change and was to fall, that would result in a movement along the demand curve from A to position B. So we've gone from 45 to 35 in terms of our price. So if the price was 50,000 tickets, 2.25 million euros. If the price was to fall to 35 euros, we'd sell more tickets, 60,000 tickets, but the revenue would be 2.1 million. So revenue is actually fallen here by 40,000 euros when we reduced the price and we moved along the curve from A to B. So the demand curves are very useful for businesses because they can calculate what's going to be the change in the revenue if they change their price. So what might cause a change in the level of demand? Well, these would all be factors that would cause the level of demand to change. Two important ones are substitutes. If there are more substitutes enter the market, then we might see a reduction in demand. Or if a substitute becomes cheaper, we might see a reduction in demand. Another one that's important here is complementary goods. So those are goods that are bought together because they're consumed together. For example, in Britain, fish and chips. If the price of fish was to fall, we might see an increase in demand for chips. The level of income will also have an impact on demand. And a good where demand increases as income rises, we describe as being a normal good, because that's what we would expect. As incomes go up, there is more demand for the product. We also need to be aware of a slightly unusual situation where as incomes rise, demand for the product actually falls, and we call these inferior goods. And these might be things like budget items in a supermarket. As people get richer, they tend to buy less of the budget low quality items. Now, if any of these factors change, it's going to cause a shift in the demand curve. And if there's an increase in demand, a rise in demand, we're going to shift our demand curve to the right. So a change in any factor affecting demand other than price causes a shift to the demand curve. And here we've got a shift in demand to the right. What that means is that we would potentially be able to, or consumers would wish to buy more of our products at a given price. So for example, here at 40 euros, originally they were buying 55,000 tickets, but now at 40 euros with an increase in demand, they would buy 65,000 tickets. If there's a fall in demand, we see the opposite. We would say lower demand shifts to the left. So what might cause shifts in demand? Well, here's a nice little summary of factors causing demand to increase on the left-hand side and factors causing demand to decrease on the right-hand side. It'd be worth print screening this shot, printing it out, and sticking it in your notes. So in this video, we've looked at the shape of the demand curve and what demand means, which are factors that determine the level of demand, the effect of changes in demand using a demand curve, and the relationship between income and demand. That's it. Thanks for listening.